My name is Max and my sobriety date is November 23rd, 2017. This time I have been completely honest, and that's one thing that Recovery First taught me, and that it's okay to be who I am and to learn how to love myself. And those are some of the things that Recovery First taught me, that it's okay to be me and allow people to love me until I can learn how to love myself. I lost my mother a few months ago, and that led to my relapse. After my relapse, a good friend of mine passed away from an overdose, and I was there when it happened. And at that point, I knew that that was my reality, that if I was continue on this path, that's going to be me. I'm going to be another statistic. And I didn't want to be that. I was very nervous coming to Recovery First. It's not my first treatment center, so I had a lot of emotions around that. My flight arrived Fort Lauderdale around 12:45 in the morning, so it was an overnight flight. And when I arrived to the airport, the airline lost my luggage. And so I was greeted by a Recovery First employee who brought me back to the facility. And from the very beginning, the staff was very amazing and accommodating because I did not have luggage for 2 days. And so that just made me feel so welcomed and comfortable. It was about my second day here and my very first group, and it was a grief and loss group. And I had a lot of significant loss coming into treatment. And so I thought that was a sign that I'm in the right place, because the group facilitator specialized in that. And those are some of the core issues that I didn't deal with for a very long time. And so by being able to be in that group really opened my mind to treatment. One of the most difficult assignments that I had was I had a lot of grief around that. And my therapist, Christine, was quite amazing. And she was able to give me assignments that I was able to identify those. And one being, I had to write a letter to my mother. And I was stuck on it for quite some time. And I asked one of our facilitators on how do I do this? How do I start this process? Because I didn't want it to be all sad. And so I learned, and I was taught that to write about the good first. And by doing that, opened up a whole floodgate of feelings and emotions and things that I was able to get out on paper that I needed to say to my mom that I'm not able to in person. And by doing that, I'm able to, I'm free of that guilt and shame that I caused my family, and specifically my mother. I had a really cool experience sitting out on the patio, and because of the landscaping being so beautiful, that was my meditation time in the morning. I would have my morning coffee and I would stare at this plant, and it was a bird of paradise plant. And when I came into treatment, I noticed that it was starting to bloom. It was a bulb. And I watched this the whole 30 days that I was here. And my last day, right before I coined out, I'm looking over at this plant and it's in full bloom. And that really touched my heart, and it just solidifies what I'm doing and that it's time to continue with this and spread the message. It doesn't stop here in treatment. You know, this isn't the cure-all of our disease of addiction and alcoholism, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done, you know. However, what this does provide is some time away from your last drink and drug, and it gives you some time to realize and get to have some knowledge around your addiction, that when you do leave when you do leave the facility, you're able to have a foundation to move forward in your recovery.